Do we have sound now? 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 So, you all have to guess this is what the game will play. What did I play when you all couldn't hear? And Shabbat Shalom, everyone. What a weird start. What a bizarre way to start. I didn't once look up. I played the whole song, and as I've done so many times before, and then I look up, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound, no sound. Did anyone have a guess what I played? I played Shalom Aleichem, which is, I'm not going to play it again. It was great. It was probably the best I've ever played it. And it's great to have you, everybody. As it says right there-ish, I'm Rabbi... No, it says right here. As it says right here, I'm Rabbi Matthew Leibl. And thanks for joining. Thanks for letting me join you tonight as we bring in Shabbat together as a virtual congregation. I am coming live to you here from the Rabbi Berkel Chapel at Congregation Shered Zedek in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, where it is just a little bit past 5:30 on the local time. And we're going to be, maybe you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. If you are, you can chat, and some of you have. Thank you for letting me know that you couldn't hear. And sorry about that. We had an update, an automatic update, and those things messed things up. So, luckily we've got somebody on staff, Rabbi Leibl Mas, who knows it all, and he did great. So he bailed us out. Thank you for letting me know. If you're on our website, szwinnipeg.ca, you can get our Sidur, which is this book, Sidur Chadash. You can follow the links. There's a link that'll say Sidurim, prayer books. Pick the one for Friday night. It is Friday night after all, the 14th of May. And it's great to have you all along. We've got a new Parsha this week. We've got a Bat Mitzvah tomorrow. We have Shavuot starting. We have a lot of conflict going on in Israel, which I know is on a lot of people's minds, and our synagogue was part of statements. A lot of statements have been put out, and we don't really talk about politics a lot in synagogue. That's kind of the way Rabbi Leibl and I feel. And in fact, we talked about it a lot when we were becoming rabbis, about talking in politics, because when we became rabbis is when Donald Trump got elected the first time. So all of our American colleagues wanted to talk about Trump every week in their drashes. It led for a lot of interesting discussions. With Israel, though, it's obviously sometimes it's politics. But I think that hopefully you'll join me in saying that, like, I have family who live in Israel. I'm sure many of you do too. And I hope for peace for everyone who has family and people who live there, who get caught up in a lot of stuff that's going on. I don't want to say anything more about that, except hopefully things quiet down and are safe for people there. Later on in the service, I have a toast for Kiddush that came to me as most great toasts. Not that some of them have felt pretty good. That most great toasts come to me one of two places: in the shower or in the car. This one was in the car on the way over. And kind of bringing a few things together. So looking forward to sharing that with you later. But in the meantime, let's bring in Shabbat together and begin with a psalm in lieu of Mincha, the Mourner's Kaddish, and then our musical Kabbalat Shabbat service, a.k.a. Kabbalat with keys. Where my middle C and the B below it are still caught together by this horrible Manischewitz spilling incident that happened. I need to get one of those wipes that everybody has and get in there, and hopefully it won't cause too much of a problem. Page 174, thank you again for joining us. Mizmor Shir Chanukah Rabbi LeDavid. Limahan Yizamercha Chavav Lo Yidom Adonai Elohai Le'olam Odeka. Page 176 is the Mourner's Kaddish. Before we leave today behind in a kind of a liturgical sense and move into Shabbat, in the spirit of Shabbat, it is still the third day in the Hebrew month of Sivan. And on the 3rd of Sivan, we commemorate the following yortzites. Leah Brook, Leah Bat Dov Ber, Max Chizik, Mordechai ben Avraham Vechana, Benjamin Klayman, Baruch Hersh ben Yishai Moshe Vehenya, Mickey Flackman, Mordechai ben Gedalia, Max Gardner, Mordechai ben Yosef, Mordechai Gunner, Mordechai ben Yaakov, Reuben Kaufman, Ruvain ben Feivel Vigolda, Hyman Medved, Nuchem ben Beryl Ve'elka, Kenneth Ross Scott, Yaakov ben Avram V'Sarah, Lily Stern, Leah Bat David, Solomon Yerman, Shlomo ben Yitzchak Vester, Zichronam Livracha, all of blessed memory. We also remember, from One More Candle, who help us remember the 1.5 million children who perished in the Holocaust. Every day we remember another child, and today we remember Yehoshua Brandstetter of blessed memory. Also, those we lost this past week in our Winnipeg Jewish community, we honor their memory and mourn their passing. Lillian Siegel, Bela Reese, and Alexei Tolchinsky. Zichronam Livracha. Again, on page 176, we have the Mourner's Kaddish. If there was anyone with a yortzeit who didn't type, who didn't hear the name called, please type it in the chat. Pardon me. Again, anyone with in mourning or observing a yortzeit, you can join me on page 176 with the Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise. Yikadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach hirtei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchayei dechol beit Yisrael. Bagalau vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yiparach v'ishtabach v'ipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Again, great to have you along. It's funny, playing the piano, the keys. We'll get into it right here, page 22, L'chuna Ranana. I have this piano at home. It was a gift from my parents. It's this fantastic piano. It's actually a magical piano. It goes out of tune, and then it works itself back into tune. I have left it and not tuned it, and it's moved itself back into tune. It's remarkable and insane. It's gone incredibly flat and then pushed itself sharp back into tune. It's a magical piano. I've moved it to a different place in the house, different wall. It's kind of getting into a little bit of a better groove. Anyway, I can never play it. When I try to play it when everyone's awake, I'm yelled at for not being helpful with parenting or husbanding or rabbiing or anything. That was funny. And then the rest of the time, someone's trying to sleep. Hugo's trying to be asleep. Felix is trying to be asleep. One's asleep, both's asleep. I can never play. I'm thinking of checking my family into a hotel and then going home and playing piano for a few hours. The only piano I get to play is this. And this piano is a tiny plastic keyed piano. The keys are tiny. I mean, I have smaller hands, so it's not the worst thing in the world for me. But it's just like I look forward to Friday night so much. It's great to be here. Page 22. You can find the Siddur on the website, szwinnipeg.ca. L'chuna Ranana. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'Adonai. L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'chuna Ranana, L'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letsuri, Shenu, Nekadma, Fanav, Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letsuri, Shenu, Bizmirot, Naria, Lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. Hil gadol Adonai umelech gadol kol Elohim. We continue silently on page 22. Third line from the bottom. Arbaim shana kut bedor v'omaram to'e levavhem vehem lo yadu derachai asher nishbati ve'apim yivaun el menuchati. Page 24. Shir l'Adonai, shir chadash, shir l'Adonai kol haaretz, shir l'Adonai baruch shemo. I did want to say hello to everyone on the chat. Thank you for introducing yourself, and feel free to talk amongst yourselves or to interact with me. Thanks again for everybody letting me know that we had sound trouble, and thanks that we're back. Fourth line from the bottom, 24. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo, Yalo sadai, Yalo sadai, Yalo sadai, v'chol asher bo. Az yiranenu, Az yiranenu, Az yiranenu kol atzeyar. Az yiranenu, Az yiranenu, Az yiranenu kol atzeyar. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'emunato. Page 26. Adonai Malach Tagel Haaretz. I saw some great messages. Marilyn Pearl, Shabbat Shalom. Great to have you here. John, son of David, Shabbat Shalom from Red Deer. Right on. Red Deer Rebels. Good Shabbos, Michael Legoff. To everybody. Ariel Lee, Rottweiler boy, Sadie Werner, thank you so much. Barbin said, Cal, that is great. Valerie, Marcella, thank you. Judy, Sarah B. Hi, Eugene. David Zvi in the house. Great to have you. GMH Rocks. Jerome, thank you, thank you. Rena is here. Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Jerome, Sandy, and Marvin are here. Yehuda is great. Shabbat Shalom. Bill is there. Yep, the sound. Larry and Glory, nice to have you. Susan Harrison, that is so nice to see you. Oh, so Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's here. GMH on the chat, pumping up for the bar. That's so nice. We're in the web. We're on the C-Dur from szwinnipeg.ca. We're on page 26. We're reading silently, picking it up now, 2 lines from the bottom. Or zaru al tzadik u'leyishrei lev simcha simchu tzadikim baronai v'odu lezecher kodsho. Page 28. Mizmor, Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash, Ki Niflo Ratzah. Oh, and Leslie. Shabbat Shalom, Leslie. Nice to have you here. We're on page 28 at the bottom. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishbot haaretz, yishbot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'mei sharim. Page 30. Adonai malach yirgezu amim yoshev kruvim tanud haaretz. Ramamu Adonai Eloheinu. I'm laughing at Yudah's message. You're not in jail. You're just in quarantine. Right? How about we try this one? Bottom of page 30. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. I invite you to rise on page 34. It's our last psalm before Lecha Dodi. Oh, Bonnie Robinson, Shabbat Shalom to you too. Bonnie Robinson does a fantastic job. She retired, and then I hooked her back in doing spot fill-in duty, and then when we needed somebody, she'd been doing Wednesdays for a little while. Evil laugh. Shabbat Shalom, Bonnie. It's so nice to have you here. You're such a great part of the Sheretz Tzedek team forever. Page 34. Invite everybody to rise. Last psalm before you know the drill with this one. Last psalm before Lecha Dodi. So we got to stand up. Kind of been building up. One more here. And it's a psalm familiar from taking the Torah back on Shabbat and holidays. But I was always told you to do a special melody on Friday night. And it's a Sephardic one. Shabbat Shalom to Ian Rapp. Great to have you in. Mizmor leDavid, Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod, Hirim Adonai al mayim, Amayim, Amayim, Rabim, Amayim, 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 Rabim. Kol Adonai v'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayishaber Adonai et arzei alvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel Levanon v'Sirion, kemo ven reimim, kemo ven reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesof ye'arod, Vayechechalo, Kulo merkavod, Kulo merkavod, Kulo merkavod. Adonai lama bu yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom et amo. et amo v'shalom. Please be seated. So, Fraser Arnovich on the chat. Shabbat Shalom to you, Fraser. Thank you for being here. We're on page 38, and the Siddur is available in PDF form on the website esedwinnipeg.ca. It's warm here in Winnipeg. I was slightly apprehensive about wearing short sleeves, but I was just so warm. And my house can run very warm upstairs, and so I wanted to be comfortable for this Shabbat, bringing it together. But the weather is nice, and people are out in their gardens. I always find that Shavuot is right around the time of when spring hits. And if Shavuot's late, sometimes it's late. But I always find myself, unless it's really late. Shabbat Shalom, Lori. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. It's awesome. And Shavuot, of course, starting on Sunday night. Check out our programming coming up. An all-night sampling of our best classes. Let's join together in page 38 and on Lecha Dodi. Kabbalat lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat lecha dodi likrat kala Shabbat Kabbalat Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila lecha dodi Likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat lecha dodi Likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat Mikdash melech ir melucha kumitzei Mitoch ha'afecha Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha Vehu yachamo alayich emla Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Kabbalat Hinari me'afar kumi Livshi bigdei tifartecha hami Al yed ben Yishai beit lachmi Karvayel nafshi ge'ala Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat Kabbalat Lecha Lechadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Page 40. Hitoreri, kiva ore, kumiori, uri, shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich migla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi velo tikalmi, matishtochachi umatemi, bach yechesu ani ami, v'nivneta yirati la. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. V'hayulim shisa shosayir, v'rachaku komevalayich, yasis alayich Elohayich, kimsos chatana kahala la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smol tifrotzi, v'et Adonai taritzi, al yadish bein partzi, v'nismecha v'nagi la 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 lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. All right, last verse. I invite you, wherever you are, stand up and face the door. Remember, the whole idea of Lecha Dodi is that it's an epic love poem to the Shabbat bride. Great way to picture Shabbat coming into our lives is the excitement we have of a bride coming into the ceremony at a wedding. That's why we turn and face the door. And on the words, Boi chala, we bow. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzohala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. Jackie Sipe in the house. Shabbat Shalom. Great to have you here, Jackie. Page 42. Mizmor shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Od yenuvum b'sevad eshenim v'rananim yihiyu lagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlata bo. Page 44. Adonai malach yehud lavesh. Erotecha nemnu me'o leveit chanav hakodesh Adonai leorech yamin. This concludes Kabbalat Shabbat. In a moment, we'll move to the evening service, the Ma'ariv. Before we do that, I invite anyone with a yortzeit for this week's Shabbat, which begins now in a moment with Ma'ariv. We'll read the names of those for yortzeits on the 4th of Sivan. And again, if you don't hear a loved one's name, please type it into the chat if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. On the 4th of Sivan, we remember Rona Bas, Chaya Arona Leah bat Avram v'Sarah, Bella Korn, Bela bat Nisan, Jenny Layden, Ziska bat Ber Yitzchak, Shirley Lizak, Sonia bat Yosef v'Sarah, Harry Ritter, Aharon Ben Reb Avraham Leib, Max Rubenfeld, Aharon Yechiel ben David Hershvin Naomi, and Diane Walsh, Dina bat Moshe. All of blessed memory, Zichronam Livracha. Also from One More Candle, Vital Brat, of blessed memory. And again, those we lost this past week from our Winnipeg Jewish community, we honor their memory and mourn their passing. Lillian Siegel, Bela Reese, and Alexei Tulchinsky, Zichronam Livracha, of blessed memory. Again, if you have a loved one with a yortzeit for the 4th of Sivan and you didn't hear his or her name, please type it into the chat. On page 124, mourners and those observing yortzeit, please rise and join with me in the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon uvyamechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almayah. Yiparach v'ishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. I invite everyone to rise or remain standing if you were for the Kaddish. On page 50, the Ma'ariv begins with Baruchu. The mood changes as we're now into Shabbat. The candles, got the wine. And coming up just before Kiddush in a few minutes, about 15 minutes, I have a thought for you about, well, they say you should stay up all night studying for Shavuot. And I think they should study song lyrics. I think there's a few song lyrics that you could be up all night talking about and studying. And a friend of mine recently had a big birthday, thinking about, talking with him, thinking about getting older. And some song lyrics, so we'll talk about those. But for now, I invite you to rise, page 50, Baruchu. Face east, call and answer with me. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue silently through this of the first of the two brachot before the Shema. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hamari v'aravi. Page 52. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amchavta. Okay, I don't know. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, ve'ahavat chal tasir mimenu lolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Let's join together on page 54. We can cover our eyes. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol mehodecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'oele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech u'shochbecha uv'kumecha. Ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'ayu letodafot beinenecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. I'm with Sarah B. I love a bouncy Shema too. That's a special melody that seems to be something we do in Winnipeg. For a few generations, everybody kind of knows that one. And it's major key, and it fits so nicely. Page 56 and 58, we can continue silently here in the Shema as part of our Ma'ariv, our evening service for now the beginning of Shabbat. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 60, in the lead up to Michamocha. Emet b'emunah kol zeh l'kamel ki Adonai Elohim. Shabbat Shalom, Claudette. Thank you for being here. Just about midway through the page 60. U'malchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe uvnei Yisrael L'chanu shira b'simcha rabba ve'ameru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh Nora teilot osef eleh Malchut chara uvanecha bokeyam lifnei Moshe Ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar kif Adonai Yaakov u'galom yad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Kal Yisrael. Page 62. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. 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 3 lines from the bottom. Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. We go to the 2 lines from the bottom, where we left off from the bridge part. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen. Fros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Fros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen, amen, amen. Craig Taubman did that one. Page 64. We should rise. We're about to hit the Amida, but first the train stops at Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 66, the Chatzi Kaddish right before the Shema. Not the Shema, the Amidah. That's what it's called. The Chatzi Kaddish right before the Amidah. Yigadav ve'yitgadash shemei Rabba ve'amad yivrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael b'agala b'agala u'v'izman kariv v'imeru amen yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'alam u'la'amei almaya Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitromam v'yinase v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesh abarichu leila min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata tahamiran be'alma v'imeru Amen. Amidah time. This Amidah is a silent Amidah, which is really quite fitting for the first Amidah of Shabbat. I remind you what Rabbi Mas always reminds us on a weekly basis. The Amidah is our private audience before God, especially when it's silent. So you can use the words of the Siddur, beginning on either page 68 with just the Avot, or 69 if you want to include the Imahot, the matriarchs, as we do whenever we do it out loud. You can follow in the Hebrew or you can follow in the English. But because it's a private audience before God, because it's a silent Amidah, if the words of the Siddur don't do it, use your own words of prayer. Let's take a few minutes now of silent prayer for the Amidah. When you finish your prayers, you may be seated. Though some people have the custom of standing all the way through to Kiddush, which will be in about 10 pages. And I've got a Tikkun Leil Shavuot idea about studying some song lyrics. And I need your help. And that'll be in my toast in just a couple minutes. Page 80. A lot of you like the Hashkivenu. I think that's, for me it probably goes Lechadodi Hashkivenu. A couple of the earlier ones, some of the ones I didn't do tonight. Running out of time. I like the Shamru too. And I like a couple of the ones coming up right now. Because the Amidah is done silently, there's a few highlights in the Amidah. If you read the text in the Siddur, we don't petition God on Shabbat. It's a lot about praising Shabbat. And there's a couple of moments, and then we do them silently, so we do them again kind of out loud. Vayechulu is where we start that, page 80. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzoam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayekadesh oto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim laso Page 82, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarai, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Agado, Agibor ve'anora, El Elyon Konei Shamayim, Va'aretz. Magen avod bidvaro, mechaye metim b'mamaro, ha'el hakadosh she'ein kamohu, hameniach le'amo, b'yom Shabbat kodesho, kivam ratza le'aniach lahem, kivam ratza le'aniach lahem, lefanav navod b'yirav afachad, v'nodel nishmo b'chol yom tamid. Mein abrachot el hahodaot Adon Adon hashalom mekadesh hashabat uvarech shvi umeniach b'kedusha le'amedu shnei oneg zecher le'maseh Bereshit. Page 84. This one's probably mine. I love Magen Avot, but I love this one too. 84. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ritzevim nuchateinu kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha v'tenchelkeinu b'toratecha sabeinu mituvecha v'samcheinu b'shuatecha v'taher 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 liveinu le'ovdecha v'emet v'taher 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 libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet v'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu v'avau v'ratzon shabbat kodshecha v'yanuchu Yisrael v'kadeshei shemecha v'taher 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 libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet v'taher v'taher libeinu v'taher libeinu v'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet Baruch atah Adonai megadesh HaShabbat. Kaddish Shalom, page 86. Yigal v'yigal Shemei Rabbah be'almad yivrach teva mechvachu teva chayechon v'mechon chayet chol Yisrael b'galav izman karim ve'imeru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'la'almei almaya Yiparach v'shabach v'parvido mavinat sevi de David levi la shemei kudish shabrichu leila mikol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma ve'imeru amen tikabal tzlodhon uvaudhon dechol Yisrael kodam avuhon divishmaya ve'imeru amen yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen Oseh shalom bimrama v'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Page 90 is Kiddush, a little toast, a little something to think about. This one's going to be different from most of my other little toasts, where I often have a message I want to share. This one, in the spirit of the tikkun of Leil Shavuot coming up, I kind of want to hear your interpretations. Do you see my email down there? Send emails with your answers to this. Before Shabbat, after Shabbat. I had this idea. I told you my best ideas either come when I'm in the shower or when I'm in the car. Sometimes when I'm out for a walk. I walk a lot. So kind of those are the places where I get ideas. And I had this idea that on a Tikkun Leil Shavuot, you could stay up all night studying song lyrics and trying to unpack the mystery behind song lyrics. I always loved classes where we would do poetry and song lyrics would kind of find their way in, and my mom was always still is a very big fan of dissecting certain song lyrics. So I mentioned that a friend of mine just had his birthday. It was a big birthday, talking about getting older, feeling older, having kids, being older. And it reminded me of these two song lyrics that I know that there's something there, but I can't quite get the whole way. I have thoughts, but I can't get the whole way. And I thought, how great would it be to do a Tikkun Leil Shavuot style evening where you're up all night eating cheesecake and arguing over what these song lyrics mean. And I've got two for my friend who celebrating this birthday getting old, all three for him, and then the third one that he's celebrating a big birthday kind of all by himself, doesn't live where his parents live or his wife's parents or any of that. So and the lyrics are, one of them's Bob Dylan from My Back Pages about getting older, and it's that but I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. But I was so much older then, I'm younger than that now. Thinking about getting older, right? Bob Dylan, My Back Pages. And the second one is Neil Young, and the song is... oh gosh, Tell Me Why, which is an awesome song. And the line about getting older is, when you're old enough to repay, but young enough to sell. When you're old enough to repay, but young enough to sell. So in the spirit of staying up all night, maybe after Shavuot, after you're up all night, you can let me know what these mean so I can help my friend who's getting older. And the third one, and I felt like this one was going to make a pretty good sermon, maybe one of these yontifs in COVID, but there was other stuff to talk about. A song lyric from a songwriter that most of you may not know, his name is Josh Ritter. I was listening to recently again. And he has a line about the comedy of distance, the tragedy of separation, which I keep thinking about during COVID times. These are 3 lyrics. I know there's something there. At the end of the Torah, it says, the revealed things belong to us, the mysteries belong to God. Are these mysteries, or should they be revealed? In the spirit of a tikkun, let me know. Let me know. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, but also a Chag Sameach, a Chag Shavuot Sameach. Please rise and join me, page 90. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim tovim u'shalom. Sweet it is. Some people are weird about birthdays, huh? My brother-in-law, one of my brothers-in-law, his late father used to hate anyone who even wished him a happy birthday. Hate's a strong word, but he just... And when you're young, you know, birthdays are such a big deal. And there's certainly, I mean, I definitely felt like, and even still I think about, you know, getting older as being a good thing. But then I think about the wisdom in those lyrics that I can't unpack. But I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. Weird. And when you're old enough to repay, but young enough to sell. We're going to count the Omer one last Friday night. Yep, we're getting there. Tonight's not the last night of the Omer. Tomorrow night's the last night of the Omer. So that gives you a hint as to what we're doing. If you have the hardcover, it's page 732. Please rise or please remain standing. Counting of the Omer. So tonight's not the last night, but tomorrow's the last night. So, we're about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it's written in the Torah. You shall count from the day following the day of rest, from the day that you brought an Omer of grain as an offering. 7 full weeks shall be counted. You shall count 50 days to the day following the 7th week. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, who's taught us the way of holiness through the mitzvot, and commanded us to count the Omer. Not the last night. Tomorrow's the last night. Hayom shmona v'arba'im yom shehem shisha shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer. Today is 48 days. That's 6 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. Rise for Aleinu. But I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. Please remain standing. Aleinu. No. That's going to be way too low. That's better. But I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארד ומשב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס zulato, kakatuv betorato, ve'atata hayom ve'hashevota el levavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim bashamayim mimal ve'al haaretz mitachat ein od. Page 120. Al ken nekav lecha Adonai Eloheinu. Ki amalchut shelcha u'ol me'atim loch bechavod. Kakatu b'tor technaim loch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'amar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Thank you, everyone, for inviting me into wherever you are and for creating this virtual minyan that we can use together to bring in Shabbat. It's been wonderful. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of great music, and just so thankful for the opportunity to do that. Aaron, I know we're early. We've got the standardized times, right? We got the standardized times. Shabbat always at the same time on the service, so we have to kind of, what do they say? Suspend our disbelief a little bit. Just a little bit. Count that new day in. However you spend your Shabbat, with whomever you're able to spend your Shabbat, I hope it's a good one. I hope it's a restful, peaceful one. We have a bat mitzvah tomorrow, a young lady whose bat mitzvah was supposed to be this Parsha Bamidbar last year. Imagine waiting an entire year and all she gets 10 people. So let's make something special for her. If you're one of our regulars and you want to pop in on a Shabbat morning, say things in the chat. I know that Natalie Spiegel and her family would very much appreciate it. She's worked very hard, and it's going to be a wonderful morning. Service begins at 10. If you've got a yard site for the 4th of Sivan, there will be a Shabbat Mincha service tomorrow with Leslie Emery at 6 o'clock. And don't forget, with Shavuot on Sunday night, Rena Sector Elbaz is teaching a class. Rabbi Anibal Mas is teaching a class. And then all night long, there is a playlist of our best classes from the last year through the pandemic that you can watch. I recommend my favorite class that I did, for me, if you want to watch something I did, was my class on hair. I'm fascinated by hair. Hair keeps growing after you die. Hair's alive. You cut it and grow it back, and then some people, they just don't grow it. Parts of your body, you don't grow hair. Parts of the body, you do grow hair. Hair. And Judaism is fascinated with hair. So I've got a class on hair in there. I think it's called Hair Today. No, it's not. No, is it? We call it Hair Today? No, we didn't. Just Jewish perspectives on hair, I think. Shoulder length or longer. Anyway. So that starts Sunday night, I believe, around 8 o'clock. And you can check out, there's some studying opportunities with our friends at Temple Shalom and our friends at Congregation Etz Chaim. And think about those song lyrics and get back to me so you can scholarize those lyrics and help me out. We're going to conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 124. And then I'm going to do Oseh Shalom, because I always like when we close with a prayer for peace. Thanks again, everybody. Please remain standing for this final Kaddish, page 124. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yinaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. Chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav v'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Bimeru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. No, stay minor. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you so much. Shabbat Shalom Uvarach. We'll see you next time. Take care.